Ever pondered how the Roman Empire, one of the greatest civilizations in history, came into existence? Let's take a step back to 753 years before Christ. Rome, the city destined to become the epicenter of an empire, was founded by its first king, Romulus. Now, the story of Romulus is a fascinating one, steeped in mythology and legend. Romulus and Remus, twin brothers, abandoned and raised by a she-wolf, eventually grew up to build a city, but not without conflict. It ended with Romulus slaying his brother and becoming the first ruler of Rome. Over the next few centuries, Rome transformed from a monarchy into a republican city-state. Despite the constant power struggles and civil unrest, Rome continued to grow in size, wealth, and power. It became a hub for trade, culture, and governance, marking its territory on the global map. By the time we reached 275 years after Christ, Rome's influence was undeniable. The city had grown into a sprawling empire, controlling all the lands around the Mediterranean. From the sun-kissed coasts of Spain to the fertile plains of Egypt, from the ancient city of Jerusalem to the river Rhine's banks, the Roman Empire held dominion. The Romans were expert engineers, architects, and lawmakers. They built roads and walls, things we now take for granted. They constructed vast networks of aqueducts to bring water into cities and towns. They built amphitheaters for entertainment, forums for political discussions, and bathhouses for socializing. All these advancements contributed to the birth and growth of a civilization that would become the backbone of Western culture. But Rome was not built in a day, and neither was its empire. The growth of Rome was a slow process, marked by victories and defeats, power struggles, and political reforms. But each decision, each battle, each leader played a pivotal role in shaping this mighty empire. The foundation of Rome laid the groundwork for an empire that would dominate the world for hundreds of years. So as we delve deeper into the history of the Roman Empire, remember, it all started with a small city on the banks of the Tiber River. So how did Rome transition from a kingdom to a republic, you might ask? Well, it's a tale as old as time, wrapped in the cloak of rebellion and the pursuit of democracy. In 509 BC, the last Roman king, Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, was overthrown and the Roman Republic was born. This was a significant turning point in Roman history. The Republic was a new form of government where power was in the hands of the people, or at least the patrician class. Now the government was a complex system of checks and balances, with two consuls at the helm, elected annually by the citizens of Rome. The Senate, though, was where the real power lay. Composed of the Roman elite, it was a political institution that advised the consuls, enacted decrees, and held sway over financial, foreign, and military policies. The Senate was the backbone of the Roman Republic, an embodiment of its democratic ideals, as flawed as they might have been. Now, Rome didn't just sit pretty during the Republic. It was a period of expansion, with Roman territories spreading far and wide. From the conquest of the Italian peninsula to the Punic Wars that saw the defeat of Carthage, Rome was making its mark on the world. Its influence was growing, and with it, the wealth and power of the Republic. Yet it wasn't all smooth sailing. There were conflicts and power struggles, social upheavals, and civil wars. The Republic was a testing ground, a forge, where Rome's character was shaped and tempered, where it learned to wield power and navigate the turbulent waters of politics. And so, the Republic laid the groundwork for what was to come. It gave Rome its political structure, its military might, its territorial reach. It was a period of growth, of trial and error, of victories and defeats. The Republic set the stage for the unique political system that would characterize the Roman Empire. The Republic was prosperous, but all was not well. Internal strife paved the way for the rise of the empire. The Roman Republic had enjoyed significant prosperity, but beneath the veneer of wealth and power, a storm was brewing. The Republic was riddled with political infighting, corruption, and social inequality. This internal strife set the stage for a significant change in Roman governance. The Republic, known for its democratic ideals, was about to be replaced by a more authoritarian regime, the Empire. We turn the pages of history back to 44 BC. Julius Caesar, a military general of unmatched prowess, had just been appointed as perpetual dictator. This was a pivotal moment in Roman history. For the first time, Rome was not led by a pair of consuls elected annually, but by a single man with absolute power. Caesar's reign, albeit short-lived due to his infamous assassination, was a precursor to the empire. In the wake of Caesar's death, a power vacuum emerged. It was his adopted son, Octavian, later known as Augustus Caesar, who filled it. Augustus, a shrewd political operator, outmaneuvered his rivals in the brutal civil wars that followed Caesar's death. He emerged victorious, and in 27 BC he was granted the title Augustus by the Roman Senate. This title, meaning the revered one, signaled the end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of the Roman Empire. Augustus Caesar's reign was a period of relative peace and stability. He reformed the military, expanded the empire, and initiated a vast building program. His rule marked the beginning of the Roman Empire, a period that would see Rome reach unprecedented heights of power and influence. The Roman Empire had begun its reign, marking a new chapter in the annals of history. Under the leadership of Augustus Caesar, Rome was transformed from a republic rife with corruption and political infighting into a powerful empire. The legacy of the Roman Empire would resonate through the ages, influencing successive civilizations in myriad ways. Ever heard of the Pax Romana? It wasn't just a period of peace. From 27 BC to 180 AD, the Roman Empire experienced a level of tranquility and stability that was virtually unprecedented. This, my friends, was the Pax Romana, a Latin term that translates to Roman peace. During this time, the empire reached its peak, both in terms of geographical expansion and societal development. Covering 3 continents, the Roman Empire included diverse nationalities, all living together in relative harmony. Imagine for a moment the sheer magnitude of this peace, spanning from the sun-soaked shores of Spain to the wind-swept steppes of Asia Minor, and from the rain-soaked lands of Britain to the sun-baked sands of North Africa. The Pax Romana wasn't just about peace, though. It was also a time of significant advancements and developments. The empire's infrastructure grew by leaps and bounds, with the Romans building roads, aqueducts, and buildings that are still marveled at today. Trade flourished, with goods and ideas flowing freely across the empire's vast expanse. But it wasn't just commerce and construction that thrived. The Pax Romana was also marked by a flourishing of the arts and sciences. The immortal words of Virgil and Ovid were penned during this era, and great strides were made in fields as diverse as medicine, engineering, and law. In the midst of all this, the emperors, from Augustus to Marcus Aurelius, provided strong, stable leadership. They implemented reforms, maintained law and order, and generally helped to foster an atmosphere of prosperity and growth. But like all good things, the Pax Romana had to come to an end. As we'll see in the next scene, the empire's golden age was followed by a period of decline and fall. But for now, let's take a moment to appreciate the Pax Romana for what it was. The Pax Romana was the empire at its peak, a golden age of peace and prosperity. All good things come to an end, and so did the Roman Empire. As we turn the pages of history, we find ourselves in the 5th century AD. The once mighty Roman Empire, which had stood as the beacon of civilization and human achievement for centuries, was on the brink of collapse. A series of internal struggles, economic decline, and the relentless pressure from the invading barbarian tribes led to the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD. The decline was not sudden, but rather a gradual process. The empire had been grappling with issues for quite some time. With a vast territory to manage, the empire was stretched thin. The administrative and military costs were draining the empire's coffers. To make matters worse, corruption and political instability were rampant, further weakening the empire from within. At the same time, the empire was under constant threat from barbarian invasions. The Visigoths, the Vandals, and the Ostrogoths, among others, were at the empire's doorsteps, ready to strike. The Romans did their best to keep them at bay, but the pressure was too much. In 476 AD, the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus, was overthrown by the Germanic king Odoacer, marking the end of the Western Roman Empire. Yet the fall of the Roman Empire was not the end of its story. The legacy of Rome was far from forgotten. Its legal and political systems became the foundation for many modern governments. Latin, the language of Rome, evolved into the Romance languages we know today like Italian, French, and Spanish. Roman architecture and engineering marvels inspired countless structures and innovations around the world. The Roman Empire may have fallen, but its influence resonates even today, echoing through time. The grandeur of Rome, the lessons from its history, and the remnants of its culture serve as a constant reminder of the rise and fall of one of the greatest empires the world has ever known.